Welcome to Nutty Buddy Sports.
Welcome back, everybody, to Nutty Buddy Sports. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me today is the other Ryan. He's back again. How's it going, Ryan?
Still cooling off from this weekend here. I got pretty hot on that 2-point conversion call, so
Yeah,
lot to unpack here today.
Yeah, I think that game will come up. But if you wanted to share your feelings about the Packer Ravens game on the top of the show, you go for it, man.
Just because I got so many texts from friends on it. Yeah, I didn't like the 2-point going for two there. I got it actually in the Steelers game. Like, it was a road game and Andrews was like wide open. Jackson just made a bad pass. This was like they just rallied, had all the momentum, and they go for two and call a dumb sprint out pass to like one option. And then Brown was wide open in the back, but Huntley's not looking there for the play. He's just trying to go to the guy that it's designed for. I just thought it was a dumb call because they had all the momentum. And then, Crosby leads NFL in missed field goals with 9. So if you're worried about the Packers going the other way in 40 seconds, like, I would take my chances. It was kind of windy, let him try a 50-some yard field goal to win the game, because they probably would have drove, but the Ravens had all the momentum. They stopped him the time before that. They sacked Rodgers, so it wasn't like they couldn't stop Green Bay at all. So I didn't like the call to go for two in that instance.
Yeah, and if you're going to go for two, like, to cut off half the field was not like they did a rollout to the right? So I didn't think that was even that great of a play call to, like, we're only going this way. And it all the defenders came along with it. And that kind of, like, unless if you're going to use it as misdirection and go completely to the other side of the field, which some teams will do sometimes. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I didn't even even when they went for it against the Steelers, the Steelers offense ain't the greatest. I don't know how they're doing what they're doing. It blows my mind. Like, every fourth quarter, they have this miraculous comeback. But I just felt like the Ravens were the better team against the Steelers, and going into another quarter with the best field goal kicker in the NFL, I like my chances versus one play to win the game or not. You know what I'm saying? But I can understand both times. Huntley's surprisingly pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and after they're all like, oh, do we even extend Jackson now, or do we trade Huntley for some picks or whatever in the offseason? But I was kind of reading up on it, and Huntley's like a exclusive rights free agent or something like that, so they can just offer him basically nothing and he'll be back on the team again next year. So I wouldn't see any reason, if you have Jackson, who can get injured pretty easily or get COVID or illness or whatever it is, you need a good backup like that. So I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. But yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I could see some teams being interested in him though, because he's real accurate. He can scramble. He doesn't have like a big arm or something, but he's decisive. Like, Green Bay's defense is pretty good, and I know Clark was out, but they had most of their secondary there, and he was hitting Andrews like on throws that Jackson hadn't made in a long time. He looked real sharp going to Andrews a lot. And then that was kind of like you were saying, everybody knew it was going to Andrews on the last play.
Right.
So they should have designed it for somebody else, like a misdirection, like you're saying. And they had Brown open there. You just didn't see him. But yeah, he looks impressive.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking the same thing. They probably could get a pick or two for him, depending on the team. One thing that the broadcasters, which I think was Aikman and Joe Buck, right? They They were the national broadcast. They said something that I was like, oh, I wonder how Ryan feels about that. They said that like what the Ravens coaches like about him is how he's decisive and he gets the ball out quicker than Jackson does. And I was like, I wonder how Ryan feels about that, because basically, that's saying that I'm assuming that coaches wish that Jackson was a little bit more decisive and would get the ball out quicker.
Yeah, they said Lamar has the 5th slowest time from snap to pass. It's like almost 3 seconds. So he holds on to the ball a long time. It's part of that scrambling around and stuff too. But Huntley seemed like he balanced it too. Like he knew when to throw and he knew when to scramble. And that's kind of Jackson, before he's been out a couple games, was lacking that for 3-4 games where he just wasn't being decisive. And part of that's Roman too, and making a good game plan for Huntley. I felt like when Jackson was in there, I didn't know what Roman was doing those last few weeks before he went out.
Yeah, you wonder if like Jackson is just so electric that he kind of knows he always has that in his back pocket, if that makes sense. And he's always relied on his legs to a certain extent. So I wonder if there's just like some muscle memories type stuff where he's like, well, I don't have to go to my first option or my second, like, but I don't have to be decisive because I can get a big play downfield almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he wants to always have a home run, and you can't do that a lot of times. And the only thing with Huntley is it is a limited upside, I think, just because even though Andrews busted a couple, his longest pass to a receiver in the game was 7 yards.
Yeah.
I think Marquise Brown had 10 catches for 43 yards.
Yeah, that's not good.
So even though he's getting rid of it quick, they weren't like getting a ton of yards. Where he got yards was when he picked his scrambles, which he seemed to do well. And I wish they would have gave him that option on the 2-point play instead of rolling him out and everyone goes that way. Just drop him straight back, and maybe he could have scrambled to his left or right and not had the whole defense in front of him.
Yeah, that's what happens. You like they take the whole one side of the field basically away when you do a rollout either right or left. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, a better play call would have been nice, but like even in the moment, I'm like, I wouldn't go for 2 here. I felt that way with the Steelers game too. You felt differently, but I don't know. I just, like we were talking about before, I just like with analytics, how much of it is based off of, it's all statistically driven. That's all it is. So it doesn't factor in like momentums or the way the players are feeling or emotion or like your players you have on your team. It doesn't like factors those things in. It just factors the success rate of this and that. And it's just like, well, I was listening to a podcast and they said it's basically like a 2% difference of what John Harbaugh should have done. Like it's a 2% higher success rate. And I'm like, well, but you also have a backup quarterback. You have the momentum. You've stopped Aaron Rodgers a couple times. You have the best field goal kicker. Is that all factored in? I'm sure it's not when it comes to analytics because it's all statistically driven. So I don't know. I think it's gone a little far is all I'm saying.
Actually, the point I liked on that, they said if they actually went by analytics, they should have went for 2 on the first touchdown. When it was 31-23, you go for 2 there, you get it. There's less pressure. You get the extra point at the end for the win instead of going on the second touchdown. And if you don't get the first one, you can still score again and go for 2, and you're likely to get 1 out of the 2-point conversions and tie it anyways. So they said the actual analytics would have told them to go for 2 on the first touchdown.
Okay. Well,
so who knows what analytics he had in front of him?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Well, what me and Ryan are going to do today is we're going to do our recap of week 15 with the surprise upset stinker and best of the week. We have a game that we're going to play. And what's that game called, Ryan?
Staying Home or No Way Home.
Oh boy. So we're going to play a little bit on the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to have a game dedicated to the movie. And then we'll do our predictions for week 16 with Ryan versus the guest. So Ryan, why don't we start with our recap for week 15? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the intro to the podcast for Nutty Buddy Sports. If you'd like to listen to the rest of the podcast where me and Ryan recap week 15, we talk about some free agents, whether they should stay home or if there's no way home. And then we also predict week number 16 that you can find on anywhere you listen to podcasts, basically, especially Apple and Spotify. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe, like, and comment below on what you think about the Ravens' decision to go for 2 and how you feel about analytics. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon.